What's up everybody, my name's Chance and today we're going to be diving into a mono white control deck just because I wanted to see if we could. Basically I was like, you know, what's an archetype and a color that you don't often hear together, and well, mono white control is just that. So we're going to be focusing on things like Skyclave Apparition, Banishing Light, Glass Casket, and a slew of other that didn't take long. A slew of other things to make sure that our opponent basically doesn't have a good time and we get to do whatever we want. So, a couple are already aforementioned spells with a couple Shatter the Skies as well as ECDs, and your opponent's off to a bad start. Now, I went a little crazy because y'all know me and I like to have fun and like to test new things. So we have 2 copies of Mythos of Snapdax and 1 copy of Mothra. And if you're asking me personally if this works, I'm going to say yes. Mythos is good enough whether you're using it with the Mothra or without, that I think is definitely warranting. It deserves a spot if you're playing best of 4. And if you're going to take this deck into best of 3, I think it loses a lot of its value as you don't have that surprise factor as much, right? Now, if you are going to make this deck a best of 3, take out the Mythos, take out the Mothra, add in an extra copy of Shatter and an extra copy of either Archon, of Sun's Grace, or Felidar, something along those lines, right? Something that's equally big and heavy hitting. Now, down here in the bottom end, to help us with the control aspect, we have 2 copies of Giant Killer. This allows us to take out creatures with power 4 or greater, or just tap any target creature once it's down as a creature. We also have 3 copies of Selfless Savior. This helps keep our Baneslayers alive, as well as our Archon of Sun's Grace. Now, as I mentioned before, we're only running 1 copy of Archon of Sun's Grace, but if you take out the Mythos and the Mothra, that leaves more room for Archon, which, you know, we all know Archon is a solid card. It can carry the game all on its own. So I wanted to try something new with the Mothra, and I think Mothra, like I said, is really good. Use it with Mythos. You select the Mothra. Mothra lives, and all your other creatures get to come back because of Mothra's ability. Now, we also have Charming Prince down here in the lower end for 2 mana cost. This card is so excellent and so slept on for what it allows you to actually do. So you can either scry 2 when you're in that mid game or even early game up against, you know, control decks, and you're trying to find the exact same draws that you know you need in order to beat them. So whether it's going a little bit more aggro against other control decks, right, going for the Luminarch, going for the Maul, or it's going for the removal for their removal. You know, they're playing maybe Esper, Yorion, Doomforetold. So you want to make sure you have your Banishing Light and your Skyclaves, so that way you can take their Doomfortolds, right? Anyways, it has the Scry ability. Up against aggro decks, it's a 2/2 body that also gains you 3 life for 2 mana. Not bad, not too bad. And then also the exile another target creature you own. Now, this isn't going to be super duper handy on everything you have, but it will work well with the Skyclave Apparition, right? Making this re-enter the board will allow you to re-proc the effect and take something else of the opponent's. Glass Casket's good removal. Luminarch, this card is just a beast. 2 mana, and it can essentially win the game all on its own, whether it's stacking itself or even a tiny little Selfless Savior. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So basically the opponent has to remove it or it wins. And that's a good card, right? For 2 mana, that's a fantastic card. Birth of Meletis, really great at 1, making sure you're hitting your lands on curve. 2, aggro decks hate this card. They absolutely hate it. You get a 0/4 wall and you get to gain 2 life. So, you know, it's a great defender. And it's life gain. It's everything they hate. Banishing Light for more removal. Maul to help you turn these Charming Princes, Luminarch, Selfless Saviors, Giant Killers into actual beasts. Skyclave for removal. Felidar to turn your lands into something a little bit more special, right? Whether it be additional creatures or a way to end out the game. Archon of Sun's Grace, because we are playing, you know, Birth and Banishing and Felidar and ECD, so we do have a ton of enchantments. And again, take out the Mythos, take out Mothra if you want to. If you do, put in Archon, put in other enchantments. Whatever you so choose to do. Mention those 2. Shatter the Sky is obviously really good. Baneslayer, oh, another card that's being slept on right now. Like, it's surprising to me how the meta is evolving, and yet so many cards are being forgotten. So 5 mana for this 5/5 flying first strike lifelinker that has protection from demons and protection from dragons. This card actually answers a lot of what's in the meta right now. So to break it all down, I guess, 5/5 flying first strike, great against rogues. It beats the Death Toucher, right, that only has 3 life. It beats the normal Soaring Thought Thieves that only have 3 life. It doesn't die to the Chain Web Arachniers, which is generally the answer to the rogue decks, right? Comes down as a 1/2. Okay, that's not going to take out Baneslayer. Comes back as a 4/5. Not going to take out Baneslayer. So it avoids the rogues as well as the answers to the rogues. It's great against aggro, as well, obviously you're gaining lifelink. And it answers the Temur Obosh Terror of the Peaks decks. It has protection from dragons, so Terror of the Peaks can't target it. It has first strike, so it can always fight against the Terror of the Peaks and win that battle. Also, it wins against Obosh. So it's literally answering almost every main deck in the meta. The only deck that it would probably have a problem with is Mono Green Food, which is prevalent if they can get down the wolf and build up and get to that mid to late game section. I feel like they may be able to overcome you with the trample and all that. And then of course we have Gruul aggro, which, you know, they just hit hard and fast regardless, but we have the Glass Caskets, we have the Banishing Lights, we have the Skyclaves, we have the Birth of Meletis, we have the Giant Killers, so we have other ways to stall out the game until we can get Baneslayer down, and then it's just a matter of, you know, taking out their Gargaroths and getting in where we can. So, Baneslayer, super slept on card, super good card. ECD, awesome removal for the opponent's stuff, makes their non-creature spells cost more, and you get to return something from the graveyard. It's a loaded card. And of course, we're running 4 copies of Emeria's Call because this card is so fantastic, and if you're playing mono white, you have 0 reason not to, right? Unless you don't have the card, in which case, that's understandable. And then of course, run the Castle Ardenville if you got them. And just some planes, just some regular old planes. Make sure you're running the Bob Ross ones, and if you got them, you know. If you're wondering about the sideboard, it's just the other Legion Angels. You know, if you got Legion Angel in the main board, obviously you want some in the sideboard that you can pull some out. And we didn't really talk about Legion Angel, but it's sort of like a resident sleeper. It's just always in those white aggro mid-range decks because it's just so good. 4 mana for a 4/3 that immediately replaces itself in your hand. Yeah, it's great value. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Hope you've been enjoying the content here on the channel. If you have, please be sure to leave a like down below. Hit that subscribe button and the bell icon that pops out afterwards. We're nearing 10,000 subscribers, which is a huge milestone for me personally, and, well, I hope the community as well. We have a lot of goals and rewards, so to speak, lined up for when we hit that 10,000 mark. A website, some new emotes, a general channel overhaul, and a few other things coming as well. Now, if you're looking to join in the community and be full-heartedly here, we have daily videos that go live at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every single day. I guess that's what daily means, right? And then, of course, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we have budget videos that go live at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on Saturdays, we have our member-only videos. So if you're interested in that, hit the join button down below the videos. And blah, blah, blah. Almost made it. Almost finished out strong. It'll give you a list of perks you can acquire upon joining up. Now, without further ado, my rambling ass is going to dive into some matches. DDC 9898. Sounds like I'm... We're going to keep this in, but it sounds like I'm like doing an intro for a radio station. Well, welcome back to DDC 9898, or 98.98, right? Can you hit 98.98? I think the points only go to single digits. Another cool card style here? Sorta. It's a little hard to tell, really. I like better when the back is contrasting into the foreground image, and yeah, whatever. You don't need to be picky, I suppose. So we're gonna go ahead and go with the Birth of Meletis here because I want to find some additional lands. You know what I mean? Looks like our opponent's playing mono green food. We're okay with that. I'm a little hungry, so if you want to feed me, you know, my mouth's open. So you'll have for an artifact or dragon card. What? That card into the battlefield, then shuffle. So what? Sacrifice 5 treasures. Search your library for an artifact or dragon. Put that card into the battlefield. Not even tap. You just put it onto the battlefield, and it gives. That is a crazy card. That is. I don't know about that one, guys. That first card that I read from next set is you know what I mean? Like there comes a point where you just need to not. Well, I guess we'll see about dwarves, but that's a really scary potential card there. Like, actually terrifying. Alright, Skull Prophet. We got so many Selfless Saviors. I need some more lands. Could play Maul down onto the Skyclave, but I really want to get a Selfless down, I think. Selfless, and we'll Glass Casket their Skull Prophet. This way we can still get in for some damage. But yeah, that first dwarf, I don't like when they print cards like that, where you can tell as soon as you see it, like, yes, this is going to be busted if it gets the right cards. And it's almost a little more, can I find a land? I would love to play that Mothra. It's almost a little more disappointing when you see a card and you're like, oh, this is going to be so busted if it gets the right cards. And then it never finds the right cards. And you're like, oh, okay, if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas, huh? Anyways, we're going to swing in, probably just get in for the 1 point of damage here. Let's see, Valkyrie Harbinger, 6 mana, flying lifelink. Oh, no, right, they want to block because they want to keep the goose alive, so. Makes sense. Sorry, I'm trying to like read spoilers while playing a game of Magic because I'm that interested in the spoilers. I just want to see what the next set is. You know, I'm here playing this game every single day. I want to know what the new stuff is. Resolve. Okay, yeah, they seem to be having a sort of like a Resplendent Angel come back. Granted, it doesn't cost 3 mana, it costs 6. I actually don't think that Angel will be playable. 6 mana, it's just too much. Speaking of mana, we finally hit our 4th one. What? So, Maul actually doesn't allow us to take out that Garruk, which is a little unfortunate. Could go Maul and knock the Garruk down pretty far, though. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go Maul. We're going to take a chunk out of this Garruk. Bam. That way you can't destroy my Skyclave. So yeah, that Angel seems pretty good. Gain 4 life, create it 4/4. But again, 6 mana is where the downfall of that is. So, but who knows? We still have landfall. We still have the ramp and all that. So 7 mana Giant Wizard. A Giant Wizard. I like the idea of that in the very least. It's additional cost to cast this spell. Reveal a giant card from your hand or pay 2. Wow. So it already costs 7. In order to pay it, you either have to reveal a card or pay 2 additional. So you either have to pay 7 and reveal a card or pay 9. That's a little crazy. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand without paying its mana cost. Yeah, that one's not gonna exist either. It's a 7 mana card. Like, unless we have some way to cheat stuff onto the battlefield, which we've already seen, like, that stuff doesn't go over well. It's not gonna go over well. So we'll block one of these 2/2s. We'll let the other one through. My turn. Another land. I think I'd go for the Mothra here. This way our Selfless Saviors sort of double up. I don't really care about that. So they'll block with the Goose here, and then we'll have free range with our Flyers come next turn, right? Right-o-reno. Right-o-reno. Alright, so yeah, I don't know about the Giant Wizard. It seems cool, but again, it's probably not going to ever actually exist within the format. So 5 mana, 5/3, Angel Berserker. That sounds interesting. Sounds pretty cool. Although I like how they're specifically avoiding Warrior, Rogue, and Wizard so far. They've had a Cleric, but it's you know. Oh no, wait, there was a wizard too. And again, Flying Trample, pay 3 life, return Cleaving Reaper from your graveyard to your hand. Pay 3 life, return this 5 mana 5/3 Flying Trample. You see, Flying and Trample just don't go that well together because if you have Flying, you generally don't need Trample and vice versa. Right? They're like on the opposite ends of the spectrum. That's kind of why, like Zagreus, you know, you give them Flying, Death Touch, Trample. Well, Death Touch is mostly a ground, like on the ground kind of thing, right? Alright. Okay, so they have a Drana. Holla holla, what up Drana? That doesn't work as well, huh? Let's get down to Baneslayer. We are going to swing him with Skyclave. They got a block with the Drana, right? Yeah. I think we're going to end up winning just because what we have in the skies here. Not to be confused with what we have in disguise. Mwahaha. No. So Cleaving Reaper, activate this ability only if you had an Angel or Berserker enter the battlefield under your control this turn. That's really horrible too. So far, all these cards that I've seen are really bad, except minus the Dwarf. The Dwarf is like, could potentially be really busted, and all the rest of the cards are like extremely bad. Surtland Flinger. Let's see. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Drana's coming back. It's really annoying because the Drana's actually at a 6 power now, so we sort of need to like really get in there. They're gonna mess up here. They're gonna swing in with everything, not thinking. No, they don't. Wow, what? We really need something besides just lands. Do I want to bounce anything? If I bounce the Skyclave, they do get a 4/4 back, but it means that I could take Drana? No, Drana's 4 mana. I could take the Grakma, but it's giving them a 4/4, taking a 3/3, so. Wait a minute. We could take their Nissa. Give them a 4/4, take their Nissa. Right, let's just scry. Let's just scry. Always have a backup plan. Is that what they just said to me? Emeria's Call. Oh, baby. We're keeping this. We're keeping both of these. They'll never know what hit them. Okay, so you two can go here. That'll for sure die. Selfless gets to stay. That gets to stay. We get to gain life. Woohoo! Back to 21. Alright. Yeah, this is really good so far. I'm really liking this mono white deck. Anyway, Surtland Flinger, 5 mana, 4/6. Giant Berserker. Okay, so we're seeing a whole lot of Berserkers. We see Dwarf Berserker, these Angel Berserkers, the Giant Berserkers. Why are we seeing... They just don't want to use the warrior word? Right, warriors are good enough. Swap it out. They're all going to be Berserkers. Alright, attacks. You may sacrifice another creature when you do. Ooh. Did y'all see that? Did y'all see what they just hit? Always have a backup plan. They're gonna keep repeating it like they did something special. It's okay. It's alright. We'll show them who's boss, who's king of the Kongs. So that is 10, 16 points there. We're only losing one creature. How's this for your backup plan, bitch? Now I have to make sure we don't die on the crackback, right? They have 7 wolves. A few of those. 1, 2, 3. Shouldn't swing it with that one. Swing it with that one. Swing with these two. Give everything else back for defense. Alright, let's go for this. They're down to 12, we're back to 13. Yasharnarino. What really hurt us is them getting all those little tutus out. I don't know if we'll be able to keep up with them. Anyways, deals damage equal to the sacrifice creature's power to any target. If the sacrifice creature was a giant, Circling Flinger deals twice that much damage instead. And this is a 5-mana 4/6. Whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. So it doesn't have to land with the attack, just when it attacks. I mean, that's pretty good. Our opponent's doing some pretty good stuff as well here, huh? Pretty good, pretty good. Why don't you just hit all attack? Is there a creature you're not attacking with? All right. Alright, so that's everything blocked out. I don't think we lose any creatures here. Down to 5. They still have that one flyer, that goose, a little loose in the sky. If I were to use Charming Prince on my Skyclave, let's see, they're going to use their goose to block my Baneslayer, which means I have 3. I think I have lethal. Yes, very nice. Haha, DDC 98.98. We're taking down the radio legends themselves. That was a good game, though. That was a fun one. Long one, fun one. We got to really flex our deck. They got to flex their deck. Carlito 007. Yeah, I mean, I can get behind this hand as well. I don't know if I want to necessarily play the Giant Killer outright. Or wait. I'm definitely not playing it yet. I know that for sure. We'll see what kind of deck the opponent's playing. Just some red mana, nothing to back it, so obviously that could equate to a whole slew of things. It could be a shock that's proccing there, hopefully not. We're not fans of shocks around here. So, 4 mana, we do have the Mythos and the Shatter, so a little bit of grasping on the board. It's a spike-filled hazard. And it is mono red. Oh, mono red, you so good. I don't think we've played the Giant Killer. I mean, we got the 0/4 wall to block out the robber, you know? And it's mono red, so we probably want to save the giant killer for... You just keep hitting my lands? I would like to have those lands. I have a Baneslayer and an ECD that I would like to see the board. Would like to see a little bit of action. Of course, it's a Bone Crusher to... hey, there's some lands. There be some lands. They just keep procking that robber, huh? Alright, well, let's let it happen. Next turn, we can get down Baneslayer, and obviously Baneslayer is a great way to stop this nonsense from happening. So Tor Brand coming down, actually not too bad for us, and that Glass Casket won't be able to take our Baneslayer, so that's good. Let me introduce you to my friend. It's called Shattering those Skies. Bye-bye. Do I want to get down to Giant Killer now? I think so. I think that's a fair play. So they have Bone Crusher. They have another Robber. Okay. This means that they can use the Glass Casket to take my Giant Killer. They take my Legion Angel? Motherfucker. They are going to use Glass Casket on my Giant Killer. Okay. Well... let's just get down Baneslayer. We definitely need the life. What does this have protection from? Demons and dragons. Okay, so nothing, nothing really. Nothing really. Still have the Maul, so I mean we can put Baneslayer to a 7 damage creature, which is not shabby. It would put our opponent to 13 and put us to 20. Nice little switcheroo. No swinging. Oh, and we got a Selfless. So if I use Mythos, we could make them sacrifice one of their creatures. I don't really like that. We can get down to Selfless. Protects the Baneslayer. I think a Banishing Light. Give me that Robber. No more shall Robber attack us. And we're actually not going to attack either. This Baneslayer, it's with the Selfless, it's a great Embercleave blocker. Right? Even if they swing it with Bone Crusher with Embercleave, we block with Baneslayer, use Selfless, and we just get to gain the life. Tectonic Giant. Interesting. What is this? Whenever it attacks or becomes the target of a spell. Okay. Well, I know how to deal with that. Yes, sirree. Yes, sirree. Do we start getting in with the Baneslayer? I think so. They're getting lower and lower and lower on cards, so. And it won't kill us, right? I think they got it. I think they have the Embercleave. Question is, are they... Alright. I was going to say, question is, are they going to go for it? They don't have the Embercleave. What? What do you got, Carlito? Chandra's Incinerator. When a sorcerer you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Chandra's damage to target creature or planeswalker. So we just need them to not deal non-combat damage to our faces then, right? Well, making their non-creature spells cost 2 more is certainly a great way to do that. We can use Mythos here and leave ourselves with the Baneslayer, force them to sacrifice a creature, probably sacrifice Bone Crusher, right? But also require us to get rid of the ECD. We don't necessarily want that. I think we play Luminarch, Maul onto I honestly think we go on to Baneslayer. Yeah. I was about to say, if our Baneslayer can hit them twice, we'll be able to win. So, and we have the Selfless Savior to protect it. It just makes good sense, essentially. Golden Paladin. We're going to keep this hand because we got the Emeria's Call that can act as a 3rd land if we need it. Got the Skyclave, Felidar. You're going to go far, Felidar. Actually, I am going to lead out with the Giant Killer in this game. If it is Gruul deck, I want to get this thing unsummoning Sickness, right? So we can start tapping their stuff. Edge Wall. I'm going to enter this tapped as well. We'll swing in. There's very few creatures, I think, that we want to keep the Giant Killer back against, or can keep the Giant Killer back against. So take one for from the edge wall. Palane. I think we'll go ahead and take the edge wall with the Skyclave. Now we need to find some more lands. Need to find some more lands. Of course, having Maul is still pretty good. You know, Maul into the Skyclave, that's a 4/4. I'm a little worried here. A little worried because they just threw that right in, which means they probably have Bone Crusher for the Skyclave. Still think they have a Bone Crusher. Still think they have a Bone Crusher. But that's our 4th land, which means there's the Felidar, if we want it. Maul, if we want it. I don't think we play the Maul down. I think if anything, we got to go for the swing in. Oh, it's a Rimrock Knight. Alright, you got me with that one. Let's go Felidar. Now, if we can find a land, we not only get to proc Felidar, we also get to a Baneslayer. So, all good stuff. All really, really good stuff. And since we got rid of their edge wall, they haven't really drawn any additional cards. So, you know, we're both sort of chilling at the same place. Obviously, they're doing a little bit of damage here and there, but it's not. I don't think it's the world's largest concern. Banishing Light. I mean, obviously, it's good for taking out their Love Struck. But here's the thing: if I use Mythos, we get to make them sacrifice 2 creatures. They will keep the Love Struck, though, right? But it makes them essentially sacrifice 2 creatures, and we get to keep everything. So, and the Love Struck can't attack, so. Not bad. 4 mana to destroy 2 creatures. They kept the 1/1. Oh, wow. Oops. Oh. Nice. I guess that's another reason to play the Mythos. People just don't understand it. Oh man. Alrighty, so there we go. Let's create a 2/2. And Baneslayer, what? You slay those Banes. So this is good. It has the first strike, which means it will be able to beat out the Love Struck Beast just in a one-on-one, you know, hand-to-hand combat of Angel versus Beast. We also have the Banishing Light to take whatever is unsavory from them. We can use the Maul on our 2/2. We got a lot of plays here. Vivian, they're gonna create the 3/3 Reacher. I think we just Banishing Light the Vivian, right? Like just go straight around it. Oh. Ooh. Well, scratch what I said. We're not gonna Banishing Light the Vivian. We're gonna ECD the Vivian. And yes, I will still swing in with my 5/5 lifelinking flyer. Thank you. They're gonna leave the 3/3 alone. Why? Why not go ahead and block? Saving it for a rainy day? Maybe they have Embercleave and they want to reduce it to a cost of 2? Would allow them to still play the Love Struck Beast, right? Okay, Love Struck, and it made sure to keep the 2 red mana up. But they can't hit Embercleave with just swinging in with two tiny little creatures, so. We have 5 mana. Opponent, you're playing yourself. You don't even realize it. So we're going to go for the Banishing Light on the Love Struck Beast. Alright, and we still have 2 mana from the Giant Killer, so we can tap their 3/3. They really can't do anything against this. I don't want to play that Emeria's Call Down. We're 2 mana away from actually having it come down, like being able to play it, and we don't necessarily need the mana right now, so. Still at 20 life. Questing Beast. Bum bum bum. But the unfortunate thing for them is I still got a Giant Killer. Or in this case, a Giant Tapper. Tap, tap, tap. They're going to leave the 3/3 back this time, they said. +1/+1. Take the questing. So all these are tokens, so you can't take those. We don't want a Mythos, obviously. We can use Maul. Do we want to use Maul? I think so. Doesn't necessarily win it for us, but it does do a lot of damage. So putting them down to 4. They got 1 card in hand, 1 card to draw. Well, I mean, we're looking pretty good up against the Golden Paladin. Vivian. That's one way to keep it alive, keep it going. Reach. So they're going to be alive with 1 life. It's a little annoying. No, wait. Correction. They're not going to be alive. Might not should have swung in with the Skyclave, but I think we got him here. Bam. Alrighty, GG Golden Paladin. And yeah, mono white control seems pretty good.